Focus on leadership and communication to build your knowledge, authority, visibility, and influence as a leader. 6 dimensions. Intelligence, the regulating and recalibrating. Integrity, intelligence, trust, unification, intelligence, strategic leverage and results. Intelligence.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leadershipisation. Look, I don't know where you are in the world as you're watching or listening to this, whether you're listening to it live or as a podcast, but it's almost the end of August here in Australia when I'm recording this, and it is the most beautiful day. I live in Queensland. It's the most beautiful winter's day, which is clearly signalling that spring is absolutely on the way in Australia. So, having shared that with you, what I want to do now is introduce a really clear reality check for you. And here it is. If people keep coming to you for help, but they're not coming for you for strategic input, you may well be valued in your organization, but not very well positioned. Now, this is quite a frustrating place to sit. And I know it's really awesome to feel useful. It feels great. You feel as though you're trusted. You feel as though people can rely on you. You feel as though you're often asked for help. And it's really nice to feel as though others out there know that you'll step in and you'll keep things moving. However, it's a big however, usefulness really becomes a trap for you. The more you're known as a person who fixes things, who supports and delivers things, the more people are likely to come to you for this. They'll come to you with more tasks, more requests, more problem solving, more doing. They'll come to you for all of these things, but you're not necessarily giving any more influence. And you're not necessarily being invited to strategic conversations, which means that all of that usefulness is not necessarily turning into more opportunity. Like, it's good, as I said before, it's good, it's useful, but it's not enough if you're looking for a higher level role. You actually need to be seen as someone who can think beyond the doing of the tasks, and someone who can actually help shape what matters next. Being useful, it makes you valuable at doing the work. Being strategic makes you valuable outside of the work, beyond the work. My name is Beth Bergen. I'm a global leadership and communication coach. Join me today as we look at how capable leaders get stuck in this usefulness and what needs to shift so that they are seen more strategically. The first talking point is this. Usefulness can become a reputation trap. It makes you valuable today. It keeps you stuck moving forward. It's great to be helpful. We all love to be helped. We all like to help, but that's not the problem. The problem is when helpfulness is the main thing that people associate to you, that's what the problem is. If you're reliable, if you're easy to ask, if you're responsive, if you've got a great reputation for being helpful, that's likely to equal more work, not more influence. Useful does not mean strategic. And that's something that I really want you to remember. Useful relates to the work. Strategic relates to beyond the work. Useful does not necessarily equal strategic. Yeah. The second point I want to talk to is this: helpful leaders often they just keep getting pulled back down into the detail. They're not actually able to get outside of that detail because they're always in the detail and doing things. And so often there's no chance for other people to see your ability to shape the direction of the team or the organization. You're so busy fixing, you're supporting, you're clarifying, you're rescuing, you're smoothing things over, which is all very helpful. However, that focus on the immediate problems can mean that others don't think that you are able to see the bigger picture. And if they don't think you're able to see the bigger picture because you're busy doing, then they're not likely to ask you. And what that means is that you don't then get a chance to be a strategic leader. Now, if you're a strategic leader, we're looking for you to be able to lift the conversation. We want you to be able to discuss priorities, to be able to identify what the risks might be, and to be able to think about the future implications of what's going on. So, really, you're shifting and reframing your thinking from how can I help to what does this need? Yeah. What does this need? Now, our third point. Our third point is being operational. It can feel a whole lot safer than being strategic. We get lots of quick approval when we're useful. A strategic contribution, it takes time to build that influence. And somehow it feels a little bit riskier because it challenges you a bit more. You have to have prioritizations. You need to be prepared to call things out when you're thinking about making a strategic contribution. Now, some of us find it easier to be comfortable with useful, and it is a comfortable place to be. It's easier. It's much easier than being visible with a stronger point of view. You're simply the person who's really helpful. I want you to ask yourself this though: is this actually self protection hiding in the helpfulness? Are you actually playing small but covering it up with helpfulness? I want you to think about that because in order for you to move to the next level or to move to a different challenge, you're going to need to contribute more. And contributing more at the next level is not just about being busier, being helpful, it's about that strategic contribution where you are going to take some risks, where you are going to challenge and prioritize things, and where you will definitely be looking to call things out. So, how do strategic people really contribute? One of the major ways that they contribute is by reframing. And this is our fourth point to talk to. Look, you bring strategic value when your contribution changes how people see the issue. That's when you bring strategic value. Useful contribution, being helpful, answers a request. Could you do this for me, please? Strategic is all about thinking, what are the problems underneath? What matters most here? What are we avoiding? Or what decision is really needed here? What this is all about is that there's a really strong difference, a large difference between providing the effort. Yes, you're doing the work, you're providing the effort, you're helpful versus improving the quality of the thinking. When you're helpful, people see you there. We've already talked about that. You get stuck in that space. At a strategic level, you need to reframe that so that what you're doing is contributing to improving the quality of the thinking. You're talking about those patterns, those what matters most, those decisions, all of those kinds of things. And when you can shift into that strategic space, you're much more likely to get invented. Sorry, you're much more likely to get invited to the bigger conversations. And you can invent yourself from a strategic perspective. Yeah. Our fifth talking point today is this: you need to communicate your strategic value, not just the help that you provided. You see, if all you do is talk about what you did or what you're doing, that's all that people see. Whereas if you start to talk about the impact of what you did, the patterns that you observed, the patterns that you overcame, the decisions that went into what you're doing, the broader impact of what you're doing and what you've changed. If you can talk to all of those things, then you're increasing your strategic visibility. Now, it's at this point that a lot of my coaches will go, I'm not walking around beating my chest, acting like I'm a hero. No, it's not about making every single conversation this really big deal, because that feels uncomfortable. It feels inauthentic. It is about helping others understand the value that you're bringing with the work that you're doing and the strategic thinking and the leadership that goes on behind it. You want to remind people all the time that you can and do think strategically and that you're not just a helper, because we don't want you to be stuck there. So, what is a great leadership intelligence tool for you to be able to use to start to change this? We want to make this useful to strategic flip. So that's what I've called the tool. It's a useful to strategic flip. Before you automatically help, notice the phrase that I just said to you. Before you automatically help, because for some of us, helping is automatic. We're asked to do something, we always say yes. I want you to pause. I want you to pause and to ask, what does this really need from me? What does this really need from me? And then you can choose one of three responses. The first one is do. If it genuinely needs your action, go do it. The second one is guide. Perhaps what the situation needs is direction rather than you rushing in to rescue it. So guiding gives you the opportunity to help someone else. Yeah? Gives you that opportunity to help someone else. The third one is reframe. Maybe there are bigger issues here that need to be looked at. Maybe there are some prioritations. Maybe there's some patterns. Maybe there's a broader impact. Maybe those bigger issues need to be named so that you don't find yourself as an organization or as a team back in the same place again? If that's the case, then you would choose the third one. So, my challenge to you for this week is to look at, before you say yes, decide, does this situation need my hands, my guidance, or my strategic thinking? Does the situation need my hands, my guidance, or my strategic thinking? What we're looking to do here is to do less of this automatic helping, where we just kind of go, oh, yeah, okay, thanks for asking, I'll help. And what we're doing is less of that, and we're adding more deliberate value, more deliberate strategic impact and influence, so that people begin to see you that way. Okay, it's a really useful tool here. Now, what is our deep reflection question today? I think that this one is an absolute corker. I really like this one because it's all about, what am I still doing that makes me feel valuable, even though it's keeping me too focused on the work? This is all about, what can I stop doing, really? So it's about you reflecting on, what am I still doing because I feel valuable, because I get that quick fix of feeling useful? What am I actually still doing? But it's keeping me focused here, keeping me close to the work and focused on the work. Yeah. Have a think about this, step away from it, come back again. Your leadership and your growth will come, and it starts with, and it will come as a result of, self-awareness. So I'd really encourage you to look at this reflection question and take your time being honest with yourself, because once you've identified this, you can begin to change it. If you can't see it, you can't change it. Yep. So, our key takeaways today. Usually I have 3 of these. So, I've got 3 again today. Like, being useful means that you're valuable, however, you're not strategically visible. That's the first one. The second one is, strategic leaders help to reframe what matters, and they do that by thinking about, what are the priorities, what are the patterns, what's the impact, what are the long term, what might be the long term fallout of this, what are the risks. So those strategic leaders, if you're moving into that space, you need to be reframing what matters. And yeah, communication. Um, it's awesome when you're a helper. People like it to have conversations with you when you're a helper, but you're not seen as being ready for the bigger conversations. You're seen as being a helper. So people will keep you in that space. Look, if people keep coming to you for help, but not for some strategic input, pay attention to that, because you might become useful in a way that keeps you focused on the tasks, and it's keeping you at the level that you're currently at, and a long way from the bigger conversations, those important strategic conversations that are going to influence the direction or shape where the organization or the team is going to go to. If this conversation today made you realize that you want to shift how you're seen, use the QR code or use the link in the platform that you're watching this on to book a conversation with me. The next level is not about being more useful in terms of completing tasks. Useful people just will get more and more tasks. It's about becoming more strategically valuable. more strategically valuable, and getting invited into those bigger shaping conversations. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you've got any questions or comments, pop them on the platform that you're watching this on, and we will come back to you and respond. If you've got any topics you'd like to see covered in Leadershipisation, let me know. Importantly, like it, share it, subscribe. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye now.